And just like that, all of my hopes and dreams, but also all of the pressure in the world that I was putting on myself, was lifted. I got a job. I didn't even have to apply to it. My friend recommended me, told me the work-life balance was great. It was remote, everyone was friendly, but the work was a little boring. And after a few months of me trying so hard to force my thing together, to force a square peg into a round hole, the thought of a salary, a consistent salary and benefits and some stability, while it was also COVID times and lockdown and all of that still, it sounded really nice. So I took it. I took that job and I was really relieved, but the freedom of those 3 to 4 months, I will truly never forget. That was the most free I have ever felt in my entire life. I was listening to myself only. I was following my creative interests, and it was really fun. It was scary, but it was fun. There was a light in my eyes. There was this sounds so cheesy, but I just felt the feeling of purpose, even if I didn't know where I was going. I was in control. And the moment I took the job, that faded away. The purpose and the point of the job was hopefully to free up space so that I could create without pressure of finances. But, quickly, as 9-to-5s do, it took up all of the energy that I had. Soon enough, I had no interest in continuing to force my way to success with the interior design thing, especially since the vibes weren't feeling right anyway. I think that was the right choice to make. I don't regret that in any way. But it was more work on top of work. And I still had the idea that I needed to be profitable and it needed to be successful. And I kept putting my creation through this lens of business and how do I create a business? What do I want to do? What feels purposeful? And I was really forcing myself into this, I don't know, just impossible spot. I looped on those questions probably for 8+ years, literally, maybe more, because it was this underlying program from the moment I woke up in the morning to when I went to bed every night. It just started, it would just play in my head. It was all I was thinking about because I was just so lost and unhappy and just not living in any sort of alignment as a creative person. And it started quiet and kind of slow in college, where I definitely felt the disconnect between what I was doing and not knowing what I wanted to do. But eventually it grew louder and louder and louder, especially when I was at my first job. But it got a little bit quieter when I was pursuing my own thing, but still something wasn't fully there. And it was just this question of what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? It was obsessive and not great. And I still kind of struggle with this question at times, but I do feel like I'm coming out of it in a way because I've learned a lot, which is what this whole series is about. But anyway, when I did take this government affiliated design job, I finally thought, okay, it's not going to be that taxing creatively, so I'm going to have so much space to create and explore. And in some ways, yes. And in some ways, no. I do think I achieved what I was looking for, and I do think the space that I found myself in was really great for someone in burnout, because it's just entirely different from a creative agency that is so demanding of your creativity, where this is a little bit more subtle. There's some things you just don't have a say over. There's limitations in government affiliated design that are not the case in a design job, which I don't need to get into. But yeah, it cleared up a lot of creative space, but it was still a job, and it was and is. I still work in this industry. Spoiler alert. But it's still a job, and as you work in it, you get a lot of responsibilities, and no matter what, you're still doing work, and it takes a lot out of you. So I spent the next 4 to 5 years working in this space, and sometimes burning out and sometimes not burning out. But it was at a lesser pace than when I was in an extreme design space. But because I was still working in design, and it has always been some sort of marketing or advertising, my external hobbies and passions and business development, it all did take a back seat. Because how could it be front seat if I have a 9-to-5? So, not to mention, during all of this time, I was still in survival mode, health-wise. I was still sick. This whole time, I was bouncing between health and wellness and figuring out my plan while, trying to have fun and, trying to meet people and, trying to do so many things and delving into spirituality and, healing and, just doing so much, energy work and, all of this stuff. And I'm really grateful that I did have the space to explore these things. And I think choosing the route that I chose, it did open me up to the freedom to be able to do those things in my free time, to have the energy outside of work because it wasn't as demanding, still sometimes as demanding, but generally speaking, it wasn't as demanding as what I had experienced in creative agencies in general. So yeah, there was a lot going on in my life. I was exploring so many things. I got certified as a Reiki practitioner. Again, so many side quests. I mean, this is years and years and years and years and years of my life. But I got certified as a Reiki practitioner, and I was convinced, again, that this was going to be a job that saved me, and newsflash, it wasn't, and I don't think any of them would be. But I got super deep into all things spirituality. I delved into Akashic Records readings and different types of energy work and all of these different modalities and breath work and meditation and retreats and spending so much time studying and honestly building ideas and concepts of businesses before I was even had practiced enough to know if I had liked doing it. And that's how deep I was just in this mindset of I need to create this thing to save me from my career. It was a lot. I found, again, I didn't like what I ended up doing. There's beautiful things about all of those practices, and I still love all of them. And a lot of the times I did enjoy working with the clients that I was working with when I was in that phase. But you tend to know when something kind of lights up your soul, and the more I did those things, the more I felt like I was putting on a show. And wherever you're seeing this, if you could click the buttons, that'd be great. Okay, bye.